What is going on, everybody? It's Deputy Jake here, coming back at you with another video. And today we are doing the Lions record predictions. Obviously, as this series progresses, the less commentating, less new games there are going to be. So, sorry for that, but we're always going to commentate over every single game. And if you guys want more in-depth stuff, go back to the original video where all this stuff happened because it's I make all this shit for you guys. So, hopefully, you guys do enjoy the content. Regardless, let's kick into this. Detroit, let's look at their team. Matthew Stafford used to be one of the most overrated quarterbacks of all time. Now he's being super underrated. I don't hear him even getting close to like top 10 hype. Even though he might be getting it, I just don't hear it out loud. Running backs, DeAndre Swift, my favorite running back in the class, and then Kerryon Johnson. That's a lethal duo. I think that's a great duo, and I think if it was DeAndre Swift, I would like it even more. So, just like him on his own. But it's a really damn good running back core. Wide receivers, they're doing fine. Kenny Galladay's a beast. I remember watching him in the preseason, like looking at him like that guy is a number one wide receiver. So he definitely has the talent. He has the size, 6'4", and then you have Marvin. I think you still have Marvin Jones, and you have some other like little requisite weapons around. But those are kind of like the two head honchos there. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not 100% sure if Marvin Jones is still there, but I'm pretty sure he is. Uh, but regardless, their wide receiver core is pretty solid. Line, they're doing great. You have Taylor Decker and then Vaitai at tackles. Like that's far from extremely shabby. That's above average in the NFL. And then you have Ragnow. I think you still have Glasgow on that line. And so like overall, the line's far from terrible. So they have a pretty decent line, even though it's not the best in the world. Defensively, their defensive line is kind of more of their feature. You have Trey Flowers, uh, who really hasn't done much since he's gotten there. But then you have Julian and Romeo Aquara, which I think Julian Aquara has first round potential. And I didn't include him. I don't think I included him in my top 10 edge list, but that was for this year's class. It wasn't for last year's. But Romeo Aquara is a great pairing with Julian, and I think that they have a lot of potential as a potential duo, the brother duo. So really like that idea. Secondary, it has something to there could be more. You lost Darius Slay, but you replaced him with a far younger option, Jeff Okuda, number 3 overall, which I thought was a brilliant idea. And then apart from that, I can't really point out really game changers in that secondary. That's the only problem with this team. That's why so far they're 2-9 from the records, even being upset by Carolina, just because of the fact that it's like they don't really have much. Then linebackers, it's not much to speak of either. Jared Davis is not the guy who I was hoping him to be out of Florida, and there really just isn't that much there. So we'll see what happens with this team defensively, it's weird because Matt Patricia's a defensive coach, and this team is much better on offense than it is on defense. Regardless, week 1, Chicago goes into Detroit. Detroit's offensive line's solid, but Chicago's D line's insane. Their secondary's really damn good, and their linebackers are great. Nick Foles commanding this team is going to be able to pick apart the Detroit defense. And the only thing that sucks kind of in Chicago is the running game. Maybe David Montgomery can take a step up. But, I mean, that's kind of the best thing that Detroit has is their run defense, and it's Chicago's worst thing. So it's not like they're taking out a lethal part of their offense. So I just think that's going to be kind of a blowout game, even though Detroit does have their home field advantage. Next week, Detroit goes to Lambeau, and going to Lambeau facing Aaron Rodgers, who's going to be coming off hot because he just got completely fucked over by Matt LaFleur and all these other guys in that organization in the last year's draft. He's going to want to prove something, and obviously Green Bay is far superior to Detroit on offense and on defense. Again, this division is one of the best in the NFL. The only reason they're 2-9 right now is because of the fact that, they're going up against the NFC South, which, I mean, the only game they really could possibly win is this one and this one. But this game, even that's tough. You're going into Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and you're facing Matt Ryan, who's a former MVP, and again a fully healthy team. This team is no slouch, even though they're 5-11. And then Carolina, I mean Christian McCaffrey. This is going to be just an upset game. So talk about it in a little bit, but whatever. They just have a really tough ass schedule. So yeah. Next week they got Detroit going into Arizona. Okay, thank God it's not a Sunday night game. I was like, there's nobody gonna want to watch fucking Detroit versus Arizona. I'm giving this to Arizona. They're one of my dark horse teams, which I'm really like. I think they could be Super Bowl contenders. They are a freaking insanely good roster, and people just don't give them the credit. And I mean, their offensive line's their biggest weakness, and they got Josh Jones, a first round type of guy, in the third round. I mean, they're doing things right in Arizona. So this team is just absolutely insane. So much firepower. I'm pretty sure we're doing this division next because I really want to talk about Arizona. I want this to be like an Arizona focus type video. So yeah, you guys will be seeing that hopefully pretty soon. Next week, New Orleans is going to Detroit. New Orleans is just a completely overstacked roster. Like they're on paper one of the best, if not the best in the NFL. They're challenging Chicago. They're challenging Dallas for that, and like it's like there's Detroit has holes, big holes, linebacker and in the secondary, which they're patching up. They're patching up, but it's nothing compared to New Orleans. And New Orleans, they're going to be going to a dome as well, and Drew Brees lights it up. So yeah, not going to be fun. Then Detroit is going to be rested going to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's gotten so much shit on this channel. But I mean, they're fully rested. This is a game that could be very close. I think it will be actually pretty damn close. But Detroit is fully rested going into Jacksonville with an extra week of preparation, and they're going to be honestly trying to prove something because they're 0-4. And Matt Patricia is going to be like, guys, what the fuck? I'm going to lose my job. So it's unfortunate, but it's the way it's going to be. The next week, Detroit is going to Atlanta. Already talked about this. Matt Ryan, former MVP, at home, wanting to prove something, even though he's not going to prove it throughout the season. It's going to be a good game, though. I think this game's going to be a pretty damn good game. But Atlanta is far superior on its roster to Detroit. The next week, a fully rested, keyword, fully rested Indianapolis Colts goes to Detroit. I'm giving this one to Indy. I love Indianapolis, guys. When they're in a dome situation, and this team, their defense is pretty damn solid. I mean, yes, their secondary is nothing to like be holy shit about apart from Malik Hooker, but like I mean, they also have Rock Ya-Sin too. They have the developmental guys, but this team is pretty damn stacked. Pretty damn stacked, and if you can run the ball and protect your quarterback with a great offensive line, you can win. And you're in a dome, and Indianapolis is a good dome team. Philip Rivers isn't a dome quarterback at all, playing in LA in San Diego for such a long time. But it does help him out a bit, and I think that he is going to light it up. I'm pretty sure I had them winning the division in my first record prediction video. Well, not my record prediction, my playoff prediction video. So, yeah, well, this team is super talented. Again, Detroit's facing a really fucking tough schedule. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes from this point on. Detroit going to Minnesota, that's just kind of like that's a no-go. Minnesota's a far superior roster to Detroit right now. Detroit will one day be back up at the top. I think they need to get a new quarterback in there, even though Matt Stafford's really damn solid. I think they need to bring in a new regime. They need to focus on bringing in some pieces on that defense. Not D linemen, because they have plenty of those, but bring in maybe a linebacker in free agency or a corner that can like really be a shutdown type of guy and let Jeff Okudah learn. And then this team will be cooking with Crisco. So, yeah, Minnesota is far more superior as a roster. Next week, Washington going to Detroit. The defensive line is going to just swallow up the offensive line, and I mean, the offense is far superior to this defense. Washington's pretty shitty as a team. Even though Washington's D-line is going to give some trouble because they have a great D-line. That's one thing they're working with. They have a great D-line. And they have a pretty okay secondary, but apart from that, it's just the team is just not good. So the next week, Detroit going to Carolina. You're going to Carolina. It's an upset. Christian McCaffrey will probably go off in this game because his production is more dependent on the linebackers than the D-line, in my opinion, just because he is so nimble and so agile that the slower guys are going to clog some holes, but leave obviously some open. And most running backs can't hit those, but Christian McCaffrey can. So it's a linebacker's job in order to pursue or else fill those gaps. and I don't think Detroit has the requisite linebackers. The next week, Houston is going to Detroit on a Thursday night game. I'm giving the upset here for Detroit. I'm giving the upset. And Deshaun Watson's a beast, but it's just unfortunate the situation he's in. I'm almost like hoping Houston has a horrible year just so he requests a trade. Like, he needs to get the fuck out of there. He's one of the most talented quarterbacks in the league. In my opinion, easily top 10, if not top 5. He's like there at 5 or 6. And like, he's just in a horrible organization, and it's so sad. So the next week, Detroit is going to Chicago. I mean, it's the same situation here, but even worse because you're going to Soldier Field. Yeah, just it's not a good scenario. And then Chicago is going to be going off. They're going to have a great record. They're going to be having a good time. Coming off a loss to Green Bay at that time, so they're going to be like, oh, we got to bounce back. We were already 10-0. So yeah, Green Bay going to Detroit. It's just Aaron Rodgers. He's that man. He needs to prove something, and Detroit is just they're in rebuild mode, guys. They need to just restart. You need to hold down the power button and just click restart. That's what you gotta do with this organization. If it were my opinion, I would trade Matt Stafford for maybe like a first or a second to the New England Patriots if they're offering. Even like maybe a third, so you get compensatory. It's just like he like really is like it's unfortunate, but he's wasting cap space and he's wasting his career. And I think he can have a resurgent year in New England if New England does mediocre. If they're like 8-8, which I don't know what they're going to be, then we'll see some like weird shit happen. So next week, Detroit is going to Tennessee. Tennessee's winning this one. It's Tennessee, for Christ's sakes. You're leaving the Dome. You're going to Nashville, and you're playing the Titans. Titans have a great run game. They have a solid offensive line, not great. And then they have a pretty damn solid defense, even though, again, it's not great. This is a mediocre team all around, but they have home field advantage. Nashville is definitely a certain kind of weather. So similar to like a Denver, where it's like you really have to be there to experience that type of weather. And Detroit in a dome does not have the same type of atmosphere and comfortability that that you'll like have at Tennessee and like Nashville. It's just not going to be as comfortable. It's not going to be as smooth. It's going to be more humid. It's not going to be fun for Detroit. So, unfortunate, but like this is going to be the record, guys. The next week, Detroit upsets Tampa. Brady is going to slip up here. Matt Stafford, I mean, we saw the Patriots lose to Detroit. I think it could be the same type of scenario. I feel kind of bad because, I mean, I was saying like, oh, this team was 3-13, but it was because of David Blau. It's just they're facing a really tough schedule this year, guys. Like, the only easy team that they have is Jacksonville, and I have them upsetting Houston, and they got upset once. And I have them upsetting Tampa Bay. Apart from this, I think everything is pretty in order. So, it's kind of unfortunate, but yeah, Matt Stafford's going to find a way to win, and maybe Matt Patricia might keep his job because of the fact he just beat the GOAT, and maybe we'll see how the rankings go, but maybe the Super Bowl champion, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But next, Minnesota goes to Detroit. Minnesota's going to be wanting to at least, Kirk Cousins is going to want to prove something. He has a chip on his shoulder. Matt Stafford's already done, dude. It's 4-11, and right here they're 6-9, which is pretty nice, but they probably want to be 7-9, and that's what it's going to be. Like, Kirk Cousins is going to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He's like, fuck, I'm not making the playoffs this year. We got to go out with a bang. While Detroit, maybe Matt Stafford is finally on his way out. So let me know what you guys think. Kind of controversial, but also not at the same time. You know, certain upsets happen. I mean, freaking New England lost to Miami last year. So, crazier things have happened. But let me know what you guys think. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you on the far side.